Good evening. I'm Abby Phillip in New York. Let's get right to what America's talking about. Death by hanging. After months of lecturing the left about rhetoric, Donald Trump floats the execution of several Democrats, mainly for telling the military to follow the law. 6 Democrats who served in the military or intel community released a video urging service members to disobey any illegal orders from the administration. And according to Article 92 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, that sentiment is clearly stated there, saying that troops would only be punished for disobeying lawful orders. But the president called them traitors for that, accusing them of seditious behavior that's punishable by death. And he promoted messages calling them terrorists, a disgrace to the uniform, and one that called for their hanging. The press secretary says Trump wasn't calling for executions, but she also mischaracterized the message from those Democrats. Listen.
You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
It's pretty crystal clear, Paul Rykoff. She's saying they're advocating for members of the military to refuse legal orders, and the video clearly states otherwise. Why do you think that this really kind of got underneath the skin of the president and the White House?
I don't know, but it's unacceptable. And I think it's a time for everybody, no matter what your political background is, to call it what it is. I mean, the president of the United States is calling for the execution of members of Congress. It is dangerous, it is unprecedented, it is bad for our national security, it is divisive, and it's amplifying what is already a very dangerous environment across this country. We've all talked around this table and other places about the need to bring down the temperature because of the threat level to everybody in this country. He just turned it up to 100. And these folks are now in immediate danger. So is everyone else around them. So is everyone in Congress. And I think it's a day that has our enemies celebrating. Our children are watching. And I think this is of the utmost seriousness. And it's a time for people to put their political differences aside and call it for what it is.
Tim?
I actually think, and Paul, I agree with you, we've got to bring down the temperature. But I do think it's interesting. The president did not call for anyone to be hanged or be executed. You're talking about a person, and I find the irony in this, who had an assassination attempt against his life, who we saw conservatives get assassinated with Charlie Kirk. And so the president would never call for this to actually happen. This is political theater is what it is. And you talk about our enemies around the world and what they see. What they've actually seen is members of Congress tell members of the military to defy the orders of the commander-in-chief.
That's
what our enemies actually
People
saw.
can see it
and
for
so the
themselves.
president didn't call for that. You can't show one of these tweets where the president called for that.
Actually, Tim, hold on.
That's a misrepresentation.
That part I'm going to stop you on. We did just, in fact, show the tweets where he did do that. He not only called it, seditious conspiracy, but
that's what he called it.
Amplified a tweet that said that they should be punished by hanging. He did that.
The president of the United States did not call for members of Congress.
Okay, but he called them traitors. Let's say that.
You
agree he called them
I
traitors?
guess in your world,
he called them traitors.
But why? But hold on, Tim. Why would he amplify a message saying that those members should be punished with hanging? Why?
What the president's tweet said, he simply called it a seditious act.
But you're not answering. You're not answering my.
Members of Congress.
Tim, you're not answering my question. Why would he amplify that message? Why would the president of the United States?
Why would members of Congress
do that?
Where they have an all-time low rating on the American people having confidence
I'm going to
in
ask
members
you
of
again.
Congress.
Why would the president of the United States amplify a message that says explicitly that they should be punished by hanging?
The president, and I'm going to say again, Abby, the president of the United States did not call for any members of Congress to be hanged. He absolutely did.
That's like calling for it in today's world.
Without getting lost in the sauce here, he is amplifying threats to members of Congress. However you cut it, if you're explaining, you're losing. And I think everybody who's objective here can see what this was. It's not good for our country.
Isn't this the very same thing that a few months ago Republicans were saying Democrats were doing, except that now the president's doing it and it's okay?
I go back to the video. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now if it wasn't for a ridiculous video that was put out by Democrats telling people in uniform to defy the President of the United States of America.
But that's not what they said.
That's a fact.
That's not what they said.
I was real quiet for a long time. That was like a long time for me. So let me say point two here.
We just laid out that the video says you should not follow illegal orders. Do you think that members of the military should follow illegal orders?
I think it's pretty clear that this was an obvious video that was put out without any issue around it, saying if you don't like what the president's doing,
that's literally
you don't
not
have
what
to.
it said.
It literally.
I
go back to what Mark said. I go back to what Mark said on this channel. By the way, after he sent out a fundraising email, which is the reason why this is a total ball of crap to start with. This was a fight they wanted with the president. He's sending out fundraising emails tonight while claiming, "Oh my gosh, I'm afraid of my life. Please send me money for re-election." If this is such a terrible moment in political history, you don't send out fundraising emails saying, "Please send me money," after I said to people in military uniform, defy the orders of the President of the United States of America. That's what he said in his email.
No, it is not.
Did you look at the email tonight?
Yes, I did. You're not telling the truth about the video.
He said, "Give me money tonight," while saying, "I'm afraid for my life."
Because the president attacked him, and also Donald Trump.
No, he attacked the President of the United States of America by telling people in the military to not obey the President of the United States of America.
I know you want to make 1 + 1 = 7.
The more
he did
you
not
say it,
do
does
that.
not make it.
Can I say something about the video?
The more you say it, it does not make it.
Did he send out a fundraising email? Yes or no?
Hold on a second. We just played
for. You were.
He sent out a fundraising email at 6 o'clock.
Hold on a second. We just played for people at home exactly what the video says.
Yeah, I've watched it.
You cannot sit here and lie about that same video. That doesn't work.
So
the video did not say that they should defy the orders of the president. It said that you cannot follow illegal orders. That's in the military code of justice.
Can I say something? As an example of what
the U.S. military's chief lawyer is actually making the case that bombing the Venezuelans could be illegal. There's actual things happening right now.
Can I address the video?
Some E3 that is sitting on a post is not going to defy. The service members are not dumb. Every time they take their oath, they know that they are supposed to obey the orders of those appointed over them. They don't need members of Congress to go on TV in a political discussion.
The video itself.
You don't have to obey these illegal orders.
Just 1 second.
The video itself, in my view, was unnecessary.
Right.
Okay, you could even argue it was imprecise. Hold on, let me finish. It was sloppy. I don't think you need to tell members of the military that they have an obligation to resist an illegal order. They already know that.
Right.
But by putting out that video does not warrant a response from the president, calling you a traitor and calling for your execution.
Okay.
This video
that is the difference here.
This video would not have been necessary
if
the president hadn't completely replaced senior military leadership and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the people that we could look up for. It wouldn't be necessary if he hadn't gone in at the beginning of his service and fired so many JAG attorneys that tell you if something is illegal or an illegal or illegal order. It wouldn't be necessary if the president hadn't fired inspectors general, who are the police of the military, or if he hadn't called every single high military commander in to tell them that their biggest enemy was going to be domestic and at home, and that if they didn't like it, they could quit. The reason they did this video was to remind younger soldiers who might not have someone in command that they are not responsible to follow illegal orders. The U.S. law actually requires military members to disobey unlawful laws. No, they do not necessarily know that. And the thing is,
you can't insult.
I am not insult members of the military.
Hold on, guys. We're all talking. Absolutely. Hold on, guys. We are all talking at the same time. Let's all stop talking.
Abby's in charge.
Let's all just stop talking.
Abby's in charge.
For 1 second, okay? Let's stop talking for 1 second, including you, Lee. Just a second, okay? We take your point. Tim, you're saying it does not need to be said.
Well, what I'm saying is I can't let my colleagues sit here and say members of the military are too stupid to understand that they don't need to obey the orders of the members of the military. Know this. It's in their oath every time they get promoted.
If I'm an 18-year-old soldier and my president, who I have had in my life since I was 9 years old, tells me to shoot a protester, which this president did do in his first term, and Mark Esper said, no, we cannot do that, sir. If I'm an 18-year-old soldier and my president tells me to do that, they are saying, as former military, as people who have also made an oath to the Constitution, an oath to this country, who are now sitting members of Congress, we are reminding you that you do not have to obey and it's on the screen this big, bigger than their head, an illegal order.
That's a very dangerous precedent to set.
Can I just
We're going to hit pause on this conversation and continue it when we come back at the end of the next break. We'll be right back.